From this particular move, I can't speak to that, MJ. I don't think we have seen any specific, quid pro quo with respect to this provision of troops. But we know that he and Mr. Putin have again been growing in their defense relationship.
The topic of North Korean leader Kim Jong Un reportedly sending troops to Russia has garnered significant attention, raising critical questions about the strategic alliances between Russia and North Korea, especially in the context of the ongoing war in Ukraine. The White House has been pressed on what, if anything, Kim Jong Un might be receiving in return for such a bold and controversial move. This potential military support from North Korea signals a deepening of ties between the two authoritarian regimes, both of which are under intense scrutiny from the international community. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, it has faced mounting international sanctions and military challenges, leading it to seek new allies and unconventional sources of support. North Korea, long isolated due to its nuclear ambitions and harsh regime, seems to have found common ground with Russia in their shared opposition to Western powers, particularly the United States and its allies. The relationship between Moscow and Pyongyang appears to be evolving from one of general diplomatic support to tangible military collaboration. Sending troops to Russia would be a significant escalation in the cooperation between the two nations. However, it also raises many questions. What is Kim Jong Un receiving in return? What are the potential implications for global security and North Korea's future ambitions? Kim Jong Un's regime has a clear interest in securing material or political gains from any alliance with Russia. Analysts speculate that North Korea could be receiving the following in exchange for its support: military technology and weapons. Russia, with its advanced military technology, could provide North Korea with critical weapon systems, missile technology, or even nuclear expertise. This would greatly enhance North Korea's military capabilities, allowing Kim Jong Un to further cement his control over the region and potentially strengthen his nuclear deterrent. Economic aid and resources. North Korea's economy has long suffered under international sanctions. By aligning more closely with Russia, Pyongyang could potentially secure access to food, fuel, or other vital resources that it desperately needs. This economic lifeline could help alleviate some of the internal pressures on Kim's regime. Political legitimacy and diplomatic support. Russia's diplomatic clout in international forums, particularly at the United Nations, could be useful for North Korea. In return for troops or military aid, Russia might provide diplomatic cover for North Korea in key negotiations or use its veto power in the UN Security Council to block further sanctions. International attention. By engaging with Russia and becoming a more active player on the global stage, Kim Jong Un can project power and remind the world of North Korea's relevance. This move positions Pyongyang as a key partner in global geopolitical conflicts, demanding the attention of both allies and adversaries alike. The Biden administration has been cautious in responding to reports of this growing military partnership. When pressed, U.S. officials have expressed concerns about the implications of North Korean support for Russia's war in Ukraine. If these reports are true, it would represent a new axis of military collaboration that could destabilize regions far beyond Eastern Europe. U.S. officials and Western analysts are likely worried that any military cooperation between North Korea and Russia could extend beyond Ukraine and influence future conflicts. The idea that North Korean troops could be deployed in Russia adds another layer of complexity to the already volatile global security environment. Such an alliance could embolden other authoritarian nations to support Russia more overtly, complicating Western efforts to isolate Moscow. The question remains, what is the White House willing to do to counterbalance this growing threat? Sanctions against North Korea are already extensive, but they may not be enough if Pyongyang starts receiving large-scale military or economic support from Russia. If North Korea and Russia deepen their military cooperation, the consequences could be significant. Here are a few potential outcomes. Escalation in Ukraine. The involvement of North Korean troops could provide Russia with the manpower it needs to sustain its military campaign in Ukraine. This could prolong the conflict, leading to further destabilization in Europe and complicating international efforts to broker peace. Strengthening of the Russia-China-North Korea axis. While China has maintained a more cautious stance on the war in Ukraine, a closer North Korea-Russia relationship could shift the balance in East Asia. China may see this as an opportunity to deepen its own ties with these nations, creating a more formidable bloc against Western influence. Nuclear proliferation fears. If Russia provides North Korea with advanced weapons or nuclear technology, it could accelerate Pyongyang's already concerning nuclear program. This would pose an even greater threat to global security and could prompt new arms races in the region. Further isolation of Russia. While North Korean support might bolster Russia in the short term, aligning with such a pariah state could further isolate Moscow diplomatically. It could signal desperation and weaken Russia's standing with other global powers that have not fully backed its war efforts. The reports of Kim Jong Un sending troops to Russia for its war in Ukraine raises critical questions about the long-term strategic relationship between North Korea and Russia and the broader implications for global security. As the White House is pressed on this issue, it will need to carefully navigate the complexities of this new alliance and consider its impact on both the Ukraine conflict and North Korea's future ambitions. The world now watches closely to see what both Kim and Putin stand to gain, and what consequences their partnership will bring to international stability.